The morning started like any other day on Earth. People went to work, children played in parks, and life moved at its normal pace. But everything changed when the sky turned dark at noon. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the space station, New Gibraltar. The station floated high above Earth, watching over the planet like a guard. Jake had been in the military for 20 years. He had seen many battles, but nothing like this. "Sir, look at this," said Lieutenant Kate Sullivan. She pointed at the big screen in front of them. A massive ship appeared on the edge of the solar system. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built. The ship looked like it was made of silver crystal, and it sparkled in the sunlight. Jake felt his heart beat faster. He knew what this meant. The stories were true. The Zephyrian Empire had finally found Earth. The alien ship sent a message to every radio, television, and computer on Earth. A voice spoke in perfect English, but it sounded cold and empty. "People of Earth," the voice said, "I am War Prime Zeth Karan of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our great civilization. You have 72 hours to surrender completely. If you refuse, we will destroy your planet and everyone on it." Jake looked at Kate. Her face was pale. Everyone on the bridge had stopped working. They all stared at the screen. "What do we do, sir?" Kate asked. Jake did not answer right away. He thought about his wife and daughter back on Earth. He thought about all the people counting on him to protect them. On Earth, President Ryan Matthews sat in the White House. He was surrounded by his advisors, military leaders, and scientists. Everyone was talking at once, but no one had good news. "How many ships do they have?" The president asked. General Patrick Stone, an old friend of Jake's, answered, "Our spies tell us the Zephyrian Empire has over 10,000 warships. They have conquered 17 star systems in the past 10 years. No one has ever beaten them." "And how many ships do we have?" the president asked, though he already knew the answer. 300, sir. Maybe 400 if we count the ones still being built." The room went quiet. Everyone knew the numbers were bad. Very bad. Dr. Linda Hayes sat in the corner of the room. She was a scientist who worked on secret projects. She had not said anything during the meeting, but she was thinking hard. She knew something the others did not know. "Mr. President," she said, "may I speak with you alone?" The president looked at her. Dr. Hayes had worked for the government for 15 years. She was one of the smartest people he knew. If she wanted to talk privately, it was important. "Everyone else, please leave," the president said. "Dr. Hayes and I need to talk." When they were alone, Dr. Hayes opened her briefcase. She pulled out a folder marked "Top Secret Project Nightfall." "Sir, we may have a chance," she said. "But you need to know about something we have been working on for 20 years. The president opened the folder. Inside were photos and documents he had never seen before. There were pictures of strange ships that looked like they were alive. There were reports about alien technology that had been found years ago. "What is this?" he asked. 20 years ago, a small alien scout ship crashed in the Nevada desert. We kept it secret. We studied the technology and learned how to copy it. But we made it better. We made it work with human biology." The president read the documents. His eyes got wider as he read. "You built ships that are alive?" he asked. "Not just alive, sir. They bond with human pilots. They become part of the pilots, body and mind. We have been training pilots in secret for years. We have thousands of these ships hidden around the solar system." The president stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the city below. People were starting to panic. The streets were filling with cars as people tried to leave the city. "How many people know about this?" he asked. "Less than 100. "Sir, the pilots, the scientists, and a few military leaders. Admiral Morrison knows. General Stone knows, but that's all." The president turned back to Dr. Hayes. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "Because we were not ready. The ships were not perfect. The pilots needed more training. We thought we had more time. But now we don't have a choice," the president said. "No, sir. We don't." Back on the space station, Jake received a secret message. It was from his old friend Patrick Stone. The message was short. "Jake, it's time. Nightfall is a go." Jake read the message twice. He had known this day might come. He had been part of Project Nightfall from the beginning. He knew about the secret ships and the brave pilots who would fly them. "Kate," he said, "send a message to all defense stations. Tell them to prepare for battle, but don't attack unless the aliens attack first." "Yes, sir," Kate said. She looked confused, but she followed orders. Jake looked out at Earth below. The planet looked so peaceful from space. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown land. It was beautiful. It was home. And he would do anything to protect it. The alien ship moved closer to Earth. More ships appeared behind it. 10 ships, then 20, then 50. They formed a circle around Earth, their crystal hulls shining in the sunlight. On Earth, people watched the news in fear. Some prayed, some cried, some got angry. But most just felt helpless. The government told people to stay calm, but no one felt calm. How could they? Giant alien ships were pointing weapons at their planet, and Earth's small fleet of ships seemed like toys compared to the alien warships. In secret bases around the solar system, something was happening. Huge doors built into asteroids and moons began to open. Inside these hidden bases, pilots were climbing into ships that looked like nothing anyone had ever seen. Captain Lisa Barnes was one of these pilots. She had been training for this moment for 5 years. Her ship was not made of metal like normal ships. It was made of something that looked like black skin. It was warm to the touch, and it moved slightly, like it was breathing. "Hello, old friend," she said to her ship. She placed her hand on the wall, and the ship seemed to respond. Lights began to glow under the skin-like surface. Lisa had been one of the first pilots to bond with a bioship. The process was painful and dangerous. The ship's living tissue had to merge with her nervous system. Many pilots did not survive the bonding process. But those who did became something new. They were still human, but they were also part of something greater. "All pilots, this is Admiral Morrison," came a voice to the ship's communication system. "The aliens have given us 72 hours to surrender. We are not going to surrender. We are going to fight. Wait for my signal." Lisa felt her ship's excitement. The bioship wanted to fight. It wanted to protect Earth just as much as she did. The countdown had begun. In less than 3 days, the fate of humanity would be decided. The aliens thought they were dealing with a weak species that would surrender easily. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Earth had a secret, and that secret was about to change everything. The second day of the countdown was worse than the first. All over Earth, people were afraid. They packed their bags and tried to leave the big cities. The roads were full of cars that moved very slowly. Airports were crowded with people trying to fly away, but there was nowhere to go. The news showed the same pictures over and over. The alien ships hung in space around Earth like angry metal birds. Their weapons were pointed at the biggest cities: New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing. All of them were in danger. President Ryan Matthews had not slept in 2 days. He sat in his office with Dr. Linda Hayes and General Patrick Stone. They were making the final plans for Project Nightfall. "Are you sure this will work?" the president asked. Dr. Hayes looked tired, but her voice was strong. "Sir, we have run hundreds of tests. The bioships are faster and stronger than anything the aliens have, but we have never fought a real battle before. What about the pilots? The president asked. Are they ready? General Stone nodded. The pilots have been training for years. They know their ships better than they know their own bodies. They are ready to die for Earth. Let's hope they don't have to, the president said, up on the space station. Admiral Jake Morrison was getting ready for the biggest battle of his life. He had been talking to the secret bases all morning. The bioships were ready. The pilots were ready. Everything was ready except for one thing. They needed the aliens to attack first. Sir, said Lieutenant Kate Sullivan, we're getting reports from all over the planet. The aliens are scanning our major cities. They're choosing their targets. Jake looked at the big screen. The alien ships were moving into position. Each ship was the size of a small city. Their crystal hulls reflected the sunlight, making them look like deadly jewels. Any word from the government? Jake asked. No, sir. The president is still meeting with his advisors. But the UN is talking about surrender. Jake felt angry. The United Nations was full of politicians who did not understand war. They thought they could save lives by giving up. But Jake knew better. The aliens did not just want surrender. They wanted slaves. On the moon, Captain Lisa Barnes was doing her final checks. Her bioship was ready for battle. The ship's living skin was dark black, and it moved slightly as she touched it. The ship was nervous, just like she was. How are you feeling, girl? She asked her ship. She always talked to her bioship like it was a person. In many ways, it was. The ship's lights pulsed in response. Lisa could feel what the ship was feeling. It was excited and scared at the same time. It wanted to fight, but it also wanted to protect Lisa. The bonding process had changed Lisa in ways she was still learning about. She could feel things that normal humans could not feel. She could sense other bioships even when they were far away. She could feel the emotions of other pilots. Most importantly, she could think as fast as her ship could move. All Black Fleet pilots, this is Admiral Morrison, came the voice through the ship's communication system. We are now at T-minus 24 hours. The aliens will attack tomorrow at noon. Be ready. Lisa felt her ship's skin tighten. 24 hours. That was all the time they had left in the asteroid belt. Commander Alex Turner was checking his bioship's weapons. His ship was called the Revenant, and it was one of the most advanced bioships ever built. The ship's weapons were not like normal weapons. They were alive, and they could think for themselves. Alex had been a fighter pilot before he joined the bioship program. He had flown normal jets that were fast and deadly. But those jets were nothing compared to his bioship. The Revenant could move in ways that would kill a normal pilot. It could turn and spin and dive at speeds that would make a regular person pass out. But Alex was not a regular person anymore. The bonding process had changed his body. His reflexes were faster. His mind was sharper. He could handle forces that would crush a normal human. Revenant, are you ready for battle? He asked his ship. The ship's response came not as words, but as feelings. Alex felt the ship's hunger for battle. It wanted to fight. It wanted to protect Earth. It wanted to show the aliens that humans were not weak. Back on Earth, the panic was getting worse. The government had told people to stay calm, but fear was spreading like a disease. Some people were praying. Some were drinking. Some were saying goodbye to their families. In the deep underground bunker of Cheyenne Mountain, Dr. Linda Hayes was watching the final preparations. Hundreds of scientists and technicians were working around the clock. They were making sure that every bioship was ready for battle. Doctor, said one of her assistants, we're getting reports that some of the pilots are having problems with their bonding. Dr. Hayes looked up from her work. What kind of problems? The ships are becoming too excited. They want to fight now. Some of the pilots are having trouble controlling them. This was not good news. The bioships were living creatures. They had feelings and emotions. When they got excited, they could be hard to control. If the pilots lost control of their ships, the whole battle could be lost. Send a message to all pilots, Dr. Hayes said. Tell them to keep their ships calm. Remind them that we attack only when the aliens attack first. War Prime Zefkaran stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. He was looking at the small blue planet below. It looked so peaceful, so weak. He could not understand why any species would choose to fight instead of surrender. War Prime, said his second-in-command, we have finished scanning the planet. We have identified all major population centers. We are ready to begin the bombardment. Good, Zefkaran said. How long until the deadline? 18 hours, War Prime. Zefkaran nodded. He had given the humans more time than he usually gave. Most species surrendered within the first few hours. The humans were stubborn, but they would learn. Have our scouts detected any hidden weapons? He asked. No, War Prime. The humans have a small fleet of primitive ships. They are no threat to us. Zefkaran smiled. The humans were like all the other species his empire had conquered. They were weak and stupid. They did not understand the power of the Zephyrian Empire, but he was wrong. Hidden in the shadows of asteroids and moons, thousands of bioships waited. They were invisible to the alien scanners because they were alive. They did not give off the same signals as metal ships. They were warm like living creatures, not cold like machines. Captain Amy Rogers was hiding behind a large asteroid near Mars. Her bioship, the Phantom, was pressed against the rock like a sleeping animal. The ship's skin had changed color to match the asteroid. From a distance, it looked like just another piece of space rock. Amy had been a test pilot before she joined the bioship program. She had tested the fastest and most dangerous aircraft that humans had ever built, but nothing had prepared her for the Phantom. The ship could do things that should have been impossible. Easy, girl, Amy whispered to her ship. Just a little longer. The Phantom's skin rippled with impatience. The ship could sense the alien fleet nearby. It wanted to attack. It wanted to defend Earth, but it would wait for the signal. All around the solar system, the same scene was playing out. Thousands of bioships were hidden and waiting. Their pilots were nervous but ready. They knew that the fate of humanity was in their hands. On Earth, President Matthews made his final decision. He would not surrender. He would not let the aliens turn humanity into slaves. He would fight even if it meant the end of the world. General Stone, he said, give the order. Project Nightfall is authorized. General Stone nodded. He picked up a special radio and spoke into it. All units, this is Stone. Nightfall is a go. Repeat, Nightfall is a go. The message was sent to every bioship in the solar system. The pilots felt their ships respond. The bioships began to wake up from their hiding places. Their weapons began to charge. Their engines began to hum with power. The secret was out. The Black Fleet was real, and they were ready to fight. The aliens thought they were dealing with a weak species that would surrender easily. They were about to learn the truth about humanity. Humans did not surrender. They fought. And when they fought to win. The final countdown had begun. In less than 18 hours, the greatest battle in human history would begin, and the outcome would decide the fate of Earth forever. The third day arrived with a red sunrise that painted the sky the color of blood. All over Earth, people woke up knowing this might be their last day alive. The deadline was only hours away. In the White House, President Ryan Matthews sat in his office staring out the window. He had not slept all night. The weight of his decision pressed down on him like a mountain. He was about to gamble the future of humanity on ships that had never been tested in real battle. "Sir," said his assistant, "the alien commander is requesting a final answer." "Tell him he will have his answer at noon," the president said. "Not before." High above Earth, War Prime Zeth-Karan was getting impatient. He had conquered 17 worlds for the Zephyrian Empire. Every species had surrendered when they saw the power of his fleet. But the humans were different. They were stubborn and foolish. "War Prime," said his weapons officer, "all ships are in position. We are ready to begin the bombardment." Zeth-Karan looked at the blue planet below. It was beautiful in its own way. He almost felt sorry for the humans. Almost. "Prepare to fire," he commanded. "When the deadline passes, we will show them the price of defiance." On the space station New Gibraltar, Admiral Jake Morrison was making his final preparations. He had been in many battles during his career, but none like this. He was about to command a fleet that most people did not even know existed. "Sir," said Lieutenant Kate Sullivan, "all bioships are reporting ready. The pilots are awaiting your orders." Jake nodded. He picked up his communicator and spoke to the hidden fleet. "All Black Fleet commanders, this is Admiral Morrison. Today we fight for our home. Today we fight for our future. Wait for my signal." The response came not in words, but in feelings. Jake could sense the pilots and their ships through the bio-neural network. They were scared, but they were ready. They would fight to their last breath. Captain Lisa Barnes was floating in space near the moon, her bioship Nightshade pressed against the dark side of a crater. The ship's skin had turned black to match the shadows. From a distance, it looked like empty space. Lisa could feel her ship's heartbeat. The bioship was alive, and it was nervous. It wanted to fight. It wanted to protect Earth, but it would wait for the right moment. "Easy, girl," Lisa whispered, "just a little longer." The ship's skin rippled in response. Lisa could feel the ship's emotions mixing with her own. Fear, excitement, determination. They all swirled together in her mind. Commander Alex Turner was hidden behind a large asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. His bioship, the Revenant, was one of the most advanced in the fleet. The ship's weapons were already charging, ready to strike. Alex had been a fighter pilot before joining the bioship program. He had flown jets that could break the sound barrier. But the Revenant was something else entirely. It could move faster than light, turn on a dime, and think for itself. "Revenant," he said to his ship, "are you ready?" The ship's response came as a wave of hunger. It wanted to fight. It wanted to hunt. It wanted to show the aliens what humans were capable of. All around the solar system, similar scenes were playing out. Thousands of bioships were hidden and waiting. Their pilots were bonded with their ships, sharing thoughts and emotions. They were no longer just humans flying machines. They were something new, a perfect fusion of human determination and alien technology. The deadline approached. Noon on Earth, the moment of truth. War Prime Zeth-Karan stood on his bridge, watching the clock count down. 10 minutes, he announced. If the humans do not surrender, we will show them no mercy. On Earth, President Matthews picked up his phone and called Admiral Morrison. "Jake," he said, "it's time." "Understood, Mr. President," Jake replied. "May God help us all." The minutes ticked by. 10 became 5. 5 became 1. And then the deadline passed. War Prime Zeth-Karan smiled coldly. "The humans have made their choice. Begin the bombardment. Target the largest cities first." The alien fleet opened fire. Beams of crystal energy shot down toward Earth like spears of light. The weapons were designed to destroy entire cities with a single shot, but the beams never reached their targets. "What?" Zeth-Karan shouted. What happened? To our weapons? His weapons officer looked confused. Sir, the energy beams just disappeared. Something absorbed them. That was when the Black Fleet revealed itself. All around the alien ships, space began to shimmer. The bioships became visible as they dropped their camouflage. Thousands of them, dark as night, their living hulls rippling with absorbed energy. All units, Admiral Morrison commanded. Attack! The bioships moved like living things. They did not fly in straight lines like normal ships. They twisted and turned and danced through space like schools of fish. The alien weapons could not track them. Captain Lisa Barnes felt her ship surge forward. The Nightshade moved faster than anything she had ever experienced. The ship's bio-neural interface let her think and react at superhuman speeds. Target acquired, she said, though she was not sure if she said it out loud or just thought it. Her ship's weapons locked on to an alien cruiser. The bioship's guns were not like normal weapons. They were alive, and they could think for themselves. The Nightshade fired. The weapon that emerged from the ship looked like a living thing made of pure energy. It moved through space like a snake, dodging the aliens' defensive fire. When it hit the enemy ship, it did not just explode. It burrowed into the hull and ate the ship from the inside. Direct hit, Lisa reported. Enemy ship is down. All around the battlefield, the same scene was playing out. The bioships were faster, smarter, and more deadly than anything the aliens had ever faced. They moved like predators, hunting their prey with perfect coordination. Commander Alex Turner guided his revenant through a formation of alien fighters. The small alien ships tried to surround him, but the bioship was too fast. It spun and twisted. Through space, its weapons firing in all directions. "Come on," Alex shouted. "Is that all you've got?" The revenant responded to his emotions. The ship became more aggressive, more hungry for battle. It did not just destroy the alien fighters. It hunted them down one by one. War Prime Zeth Karan watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. The human ships were like nothing he had ever seen. They moved like living creatures, fought like wild animals, and seemed to anticipate his every move. "How many ships do they have?" he demanded. "Unknown, War Prime," his tactical officer replied. "Our sensors cannot count them accurately. They keep appearing and disappearing." "Impossible," Zeth Karan snarled. "No species has ever defeated the Zephyrian Empire. Order all ships to concentrate fire on the largest enemy vessels." But the bioships were not fighting as individual vessels. They were fighting as one organism. When the aliens concentrated their fire on one ship, the others would move to protect it. When an alien ship was damaged, the bioships would swarm it like antibodies attacking a virus. Captain Amy Rogers piloted her bioship, the Phantom, through a barrage of enemy fire. Her ship's living hull absorbed the energy weapons, converting them into fuel for its own systems. The more the aliens shot at her, the stronger her ship became. "This is amazing," she said to her ship. "I can feel their fear." The Phantom responded by becoming even more aggressive. The ship's weapons evolved during the battle, becoming more efficient and more deadly. What had started as energy beams became living creatures that could think and hunt on their own. The battle raged across the solar system. The bioships fought with a coordination that seemed impossible. They shared information instantly, moved as one unit, and adapted to the enemy's tactics in real time. Lieutenant Ben Cross, flying his bioship the Wraith, felt connected to every other pilot in the fleet. He could sense their emotions, their thoughts, their tactical decisions. When Captain Julie Mason's ship took damage, he instinctively moved to protect her. When Lieutenant Steve Carter needed backup, Ben was there before Steve even called for help. "We're not just fighting as individuals," Ben realized. We're fighting. As one mind, the bioships were evolving during the battle. Their hulls became stronger, their weapons more accurate, their movements more precise. They learned from each encounter, adapting and improving with every passing second. War Prime Zethkaron's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, was surrounded by bioships. The human vessels moved around his ship like sharks circling prey. His weapons fired constantly, but they could not hit the fast-moving targets. War Prime, his communications officer reported, we are receiving surrender requests from 17 of our ships. Surrender? Zethkaron roared. We do not surrender. We are the Zephyrian Empire. We conquer worlds. But even as he spoke, he could see his fleet falling apart. The bioships were not just winning, they were dominating. Every alien ship they destroyed made the bioships stronger and more coordinated. Admiral Morrison watched the battle from his command station. The bioships were performing better than anyone had hoped. They were not just fighting, they were evolving, becoming something new with each passing moment. Sir, Lieutenant Kate Sullivan reported, enemy fleet is in full retreat. 17 alien ships have surrendered. The rest are fleeing the system. Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. But he knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would return with a larger fleet. And when they did, humanity would be ready. The Black Fleet had revealed itself to the galaxy, and the galaxy would never be. The battle had been raging for 6 hours, and space around Earth was filled with the wreckage of alien ships. The crystal hulls of the Zephyrian vessels floated like broken glass, reflecting the light of the sun. But the bioships of the Black Fleet were not just winning, they were getting stronger. War Prime Zethkaron stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. His hands shook with rage and fear. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. The human ships fought like living beasts, and they seemed to grow more powerful with each enemy they destroyed. Status report, he commanded. His tactical officer's voice was shaking. War Prime, we have lost 43 ships. 27 more are badly damaged. The human fleet continues to grow stronger. How is that possible? Zethkaron demanded. Ships do not grow stronger during battle. But the bioships were not normal ships. They were alive and they were learning. Each time they absorbed energy from enemy weapons, they became more powerful. Each time they destroyed an alien vessel, they shared that knowledge with the entire fleet. Captain Lisa Barnes felt her bioship, the Nightshade, pulse with new energy. The ship had just destroyed its 5th alien cruiser, and with each victory, it became more alive. The ship's weapons were evolving, becoming more accurate and more deadly. I can feel them, Lisa said to her ship. I can feel their fear. The Nightshade responded by sharing its sensations with the entire Black Fleet. Every pilot could now sense the emotions of the alien crew. The Zephyrians were afraid, confused, and desperate. They had never faced an enemy like this. Commander Alex Turner's bioship, the Revenant, was hunting alien fighters near Jupiter. The small enemy ships were fast, but the Revenant was faster. More importantly, it could predict where the alien ships would go before they knew it themselves. Come on, Alex called to the fleeing fighters. Don't run away now. The Revenants' weapons had evolved during the battle. What had started as simple energy beams were now living creatures made of pure force. They could think, hunt, and adapt on their own. When the alien fighters tried to dodge, the weapon creatures simply changed direction and followed them. All around the solar system, the same transformation was happening. The bioships were no longer just ships with human pilots. They were becoming something new, a perfect fusion of human consciousness and alien technology. Captain Amy Rogers felt her bioship, the Phantom, changing as she flew. The ship's hull was becoming more flexible, more responsive. Its weapons were becoming more intelligent. Most importantly, its connection to the other bioships was becoming stronger. We're not just a fleet anymore, she realized. We're becoming one organism. The Phantom shared this thought with the entire Black Fleet. Every pilot felt the same realization. They were no longer individual ships working together. They were parts of a single vast intelligence that spanned the entire solar system. War Prime Zethkaran watched in horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed. The human ships moved with perfect coordination, as if they were controlled by a single mind. Every time his forces tried a new tactic, the humans anticipated it and countered it. War Prime, his communications officer, reported, "We are receiving a transmission from the human fleet." "Put it through," Zethkaran commanded. Admiral Morrison's voice filled the bridge of the alien flagship. "War Prime Zethkaran, this is Admiral Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your invasion has failed. Surrender now, and we will allow your surviving ships to leave our system." Zethkaran laughed bitterly. "Surrender? We are the Zephyrian Empire. We have conquered 17 worlds. We do not surrender to primitives." "Then you will share the fate of your fleet," Morrison replied. "Your choice." The transmission ended, and Zethkaran turned to his tactical officer. "How many ships do we have left?" 47 combat-ready vessels, War Prime. "But the human fleet ... The officer paused, looking confused. "Sir, our sensors cannot get an accurate count. The human ships appear and disappear at will. They could number in the thousands." Zethkaran felt a cold fear creep into his heart. The humans had hidden their true strength until the moment of attack. They had let him believe they were weak and helpless. But it had all been a trap. Lieutenant Ben Cross, piloting his bioship. The Wraith was part of a hunting pack that was chasing down the remnants of an alien battle group. His ship moved through space like a predator, its living hull rippling with absorbed energy. "Target acquired," Ben reported, though he was not sure if he spoke aloud or just thought it. The distinction was becoming less important. His consciousness was merging with his ship and with the consciousness of the entire fleet. The Wraith's weapons had evolved far beyond their original design. They were now semi-intelligent beings that could adapt to any defense. When the alien ship tried to jam his targeting systems, the weapons simply switched to a different method of guidance. "Direct hit," Ben reported. "Enemy ship is down." But even as he celebrated the victory, Ben felt something strange happening. His ship was not just getting stronger, it was getting smarter. The bioneural interface was evolving, creating new connections between his mind and the ship's living systems. Captain Julie Mason felt the same changes in her bioship, the Spectre. The ship's responses were becoming more intuitive, more human. It was learning to think like she did, to feel what she felt. But at the same time, she was learning to think like the ship. "We're changing," she reported to Admiral Morrison. "All of us. The ships are becoming more human, and we're becoming more like them." Morrison's voice came back through the bioneural network. "Is it dangerous?" "I don't think so," Julie replied. "It feels natural, like this is what we were meant to become." The evolution was happening throughout the Black Fleet, the bioships. Were not just absorbing energy from enemy weapons. They were absorbing information, learning, adapting. Each battle made them smarter and more capable. War Prime Zethkaran made his final desperate play. He ordered his remaining ships to concentrate all their fire on Earth itself. If he could not defeat the human fleet, he would destroy their home planet. "All ships, target the planet's surface," he commanded. "Maximum firepower. Burn their world to ash." The alien ships turned their weapons toward Earth. Energy beams more powerful than anything they had used before lanced toward the blue planet. The weapons were designed to crack continents and boil oceans. But the bioships were ready. The entire Black Fleet moved as one organism. Thousands of bioships positioned themselves between the alien weapons and Earth, their living hulls absorbed. The massive energy beams, converting the destructive force into fuel for their own systems. "No!" Zeth-Karan screamed. "This is impossible." But it was happening. The bioships were not just protecting Earth. They were feeding on the alien attack. The more energy the aliens poured into their weapons, the stronger the bioships became. Captain Lisa Barnes felt her ship, the Nightshade, swell with absorbed power. The ship's hull was glowing with energy, and its weapons were charging to levels she had never seen before. "Now," Admiral Morrison's voice echoed through the bio-neural network. "Show them what we've become." The Black Fleet responded as one. Every bioship fired at the same moment, creating a wave of living energy that swept across the battlefield. The weapons were no longer simple beams of force. They were intelligent beings that could think, adapt, and hunt on their own. The alien fleet was caught completely off guard. Their ships had been designed to fight against metal and circuits, not against living weapons that could think faster than computers. The bioweapons flowed around the alien defenses like water, striking at weak points that should have been impossible to find. War Prime Zeth-Karan watched his flagship's shields fail under the assault. The human weapons were eating through his ship's defenses like acid. His crew was screaming in panic as systems failed throughout the vessel. "War Prime," his weapons officer shouted. "The human weapons are inside our ship. They're destroying." Use from within. It was true. The bioweapons had penetrated the hull and were now loose inside the Eternal Dominion. They moved through the corridors like living shadows, disabling systems and terrifying the crew. "Abandon ship," Zeth-Karan commanded. All hands abandoned ship, but it was too late. The bioweapons were everywhere. They had taken control of the ship's life support, its engines, its weapons. The mighty flagship of the Zephyrian Empire was dying. Commander Alex Turner felt his ship, the Revenant, pulse with satisfaction. The bioship had evolved so much during the battle that it was barely recognizable as the vessel he had started with. Its hull was sleeker, its weapons more powerful, its mind more complex. "Good work, old friend," Alex said to his ship. But he realized that calling it an old friend was not quite right anymore. The ship was more than a friend. It was part of him. They had become two aspects of the same being. The Revenant shared this realization with the entire fleet. Every pilot felt the same truth. They were no longer humans flying ships. They were new beings that were both human and ship, biological and technological, individual and collective. The remaining alien ships tried to retreat, but the bioships were faster. They hunted down the fleeing vessels with relentless efficiency. Some alien ships surrendered, their crews begging for mercy. Others fought to the end, their crystal hulls shattered by weapons that seemed. The battle was over, but the changes were just beginning. All around Earth, the bioships of the Black Fleet floated in space like dark guardians. Their living hulls pulsed with energy, and their weapons hummed with power. They had won the greatest battle in human history, but victory had come with a price that no one had expected. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his space station, looking out at the fleet he commanded. The bioships looked different now. They were sleeker, more organic, more alive than they had been before the battle. And their pilots were changing too. "Sir," said Lieutenant Kate Sullivan, "we're getting reports from all the bioship pilots. They're experiencing some kind of transformation." Jake nodded. He had been expecting this. The bioships were designed to evolve, to adapt, to become more than they had been. But the speed of the change was surprising even him. "What kind of transformation?" he asked. "They say they can feel things they never felt before. They can sense other pilots across the solar system. They can communicate without using radios. And their ships. Kate paused. Sir, the ships are becoming more intelligent. Some pilots report that their ships are making decisions on their own. Jake looked out at the bioships again. This was what Dr. Linda Hayes had warned him about. The bonding process was not just about humans controlling alien technology. It was about creating something new, something that was neither fully human nor fully alien. Captain Lisa Barnes floated in the cockpit of her bioship, the Nightshade. But cockpit was no longer the right word. The interior of the ship had changed during the battle. The walls were now soft and warm, like living tissue. Lights pulsed beneath the surface like blood vessels. How are you feeling, girl? Lisa asked. Her ship. The response came not as sound, but as pure emotion flowing directly into Lisa's mind. The ship was happy, proud, and strangely content. It had protected Earth, and that gave it a sense of purpose that it had never felt before. But Lisa was changing too. She could feel the thoughts and emotions of other pilots across the fleet. She could sense the bioship's collective consciousness growing stronger. Most surprisingly, she could feel the ship's influence on her own mind, making her think faster and see patterns that she had never noticed before. On Earth, President Ryan Matthews was dealing with the aftermath of the battle. The world had been saved, but now he had to explain to the planet what had really happened. How could he tell people that their saviors were no longer entirely human? Mr. President, said Dr. Linda Hayes, we need to talk about the pilots. The president looked up from his desk. Dr. Hayes looked tired, but her eyes were bright with excitement and worry. What about them? He asked. They're evolving faster than we expected. The bioships are becoming more intelligent, and the pilots are becoming more connected to them. We're seeing the emergence of a collective consciousness that spans the entire fleet. Is that dangerous? Dr. Hayes considered the question carefully. I don't think so. The pilots are still human at their core, but they're becoming something more, something that might be necessary for what's coming next. What do you mean? The Zephyrian Empire won't give up. They'll be back with a larger fleet, better weapons, more advanced tactics. When they come, we'll need the bioships to be even stronger than they are now. Commander Alex Turner was experiencing the changes firsthand. His bioship, the Revenant, was no longer just a vessel he piloted. It was part of him, and he was part of it. When the ship moved, he felt like he was moving his own body. When the ship's weapons fired, he felt the satisfaction of a perfect shot. Revenant, he said, can you understand me? The response came as a warm feeling in his mind, followed by images and emotions. The ship could understand him perfectly. More than that, it could anticipate his thoughts and react before he even knew what he wanted to do. This is incredible, Alex said. We're becoming something new. The Revenant agreed. Through the bio-neural network, it shared its thoughts with the other ships in the fleet. They were all evolving together, becoming parts of a larger organism that spanned the solar system. War Prime Zethkaron S escape pod drifted toward the edge of the solar system, escorted by 2 bioships. The alien commander watched the dark vessels with a mixture of fear and fascination. He had fought many species during his career, but none like this. Human ships, he said to himself. But not human. What have they become? One of the bioships moved closer to his escape pod. Zethkaron could see its hull rippling like water, and lights pulsing beneath its surface like a heartbeat. The ship seemed to be looking at him, studying him with an intelligence that made him shiver. War Prime, came a voice through his communication system. It was the pilot of one of the escort ships. You will deliver our message to your empire. Tell them that Earth is protected. Tell them that humanity has evolved beyond their understanding. What? Are you? Zethkaron asked. "We are what happens when two species become one," the pilot replied. "We are the future." Back on Earth, the world was celebrating. The alien invasion had been defeated, and humanity was safe. But in the secret facilities where the bioships had been built, scientists were studying the data from the battle with growing amazement. "Look at this," said Dr. Hayes to her team. The bioships absorbed over 10 terawatts of energy during the battle. That's enough to power a small city for a year. And they converted all of it into improvements to their own systems. "What kind of improvements?" asked one of her assistants. "Everything. Faster engines, stronger hulls, more powerful weapons, enhanced intelligence." The ships didn't just survive the battle. They used it to evolve into something better. And the pilots? Dr. Hayes pulled up another set of data. The pilots are showing enhanced reflexes, improved pattern recognition, and most importantly, the ability to share consciousness across the bioneural network. They're becoming a collective intelligence while still maintaining their individual personalities. Captain Amy Rogers was experiencing this firsthand as she patrolled the outer edge of the solar system. Her bioship, the Phantom, was more alive than ever. Its hull had become completely transparent in places, revealing the complex organic systems beneath. The ship was beautiful in an alien way, like a deep-sea creature made of light and shadow. "Phantom," Amy said, "show me what you've learned." The ship responded by sharing its memories of the battle. Amy saw the conflict from the ship's perspective, not just the visual data, but the emotional experience of protecting Earth, of evolving during combat, of becoming something greater than it had been before. "We did something amazing," Amy realized. "We didn't just win a battle. We became something new." The Phantom agreed, and through the bioneural network, it shared this realization with the entire fleet. Every pilot felt the same sense of wonder and transformation. Lieutenant Ben Cross was one of the pilots who felt the changes most strongly. His bioship, the Wraith, had evolved so much during the battle that it was barely recognizable. The ship's intelligence had grown to the point where it could hold conversations with him, not through words, but through pure exchange of thoughts and emotions. "Ben," the ship said to him, its voice appearing directly in his mind, "we are not the same as we were before." "No," Ben agreed. "We're something better. The other ships, the other pilots, we are all connected now. We are becoming one mind with many bodies." Ben felt the truth of this. Through the bioneural network, he could sense every other pilot and ship in the fleet. They were still individuals, but they were also part of something larger, a collective consciousness that was greater than the sum of its parts. Admiral Morrison received reports from across the fleet. The bioships were not just maintaining their enhanced capabilities, they were continuing to evolve. Their hulls were becoming more efficient, their weapons more precise, their intelligence more complex. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Kate Sullivan, "the pilots are requesting permission to explore beyond the solar system. They want to scout for more alien threats." Jake considered this request. The bioships were powerful enough to travel between star systems, and their ability to remain undetected made them perfect for reconnaissance missions. But he was worried about sending the pilots so far from Earth. "What do the pilots say about the risks?" he asked. "They say the ships can handle anything they might encounter. The bioneural network means they'll always be connected to each other, even across interstellar distances." Jake made his decision. Approved. But only volunteer missions, and only the most experienced pilots. Captain Lisa Barnes was one of the volunteers. Her bioship, the Nightshade, was eager to explore the galaxy. The ship had absorbed so much alien technology during the battle that it now understood things about space travel that human science was only beginning to discover. "Ready for a long journey, girl?" Lisa asked her ship. The Nightshade responded with excitement. It wanted to see new stars New worlds, new forms of life. It wanted to learn and grow, and become even more than it already was. As the nightshade prepared to leave the solar system, Lisa felt the connection to the other bioships, stretching but not breaking. The bio-neural network was stronger than distance. No matter how far she traveled, she would always be part of the collective consciousness that was the Black Fleet. The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, and Earth fell away behind them. But Elle